sermon because I have a feeling more of us, if not most of us, can probably better identify in our lives as Ananias versus Paul, or Saul who became Paul in his transformation. The voice of God whispered to Ananias, "Go and share the good news, lay hands on Saul." And Ananias, like so many before, when they heard the voice of God, said, yeah, but he's our enemy. Yeah, but I don't love him. Yeah, but he might kill me. Arrest me, get me arrested, get me killed. And God says, go. Something to think about is how often has the Lord whispered in our hearts a vision or a direction, and it looked impossible. God is full of the possibility within the impossible. That's just a little extra sermon for you. What kind of fishermen were these guys? Man, it's a good thing they got called away from that by Jesus. I mean, they're fishing all night and didn't catch a single fish. And it gives echoes of the call of the disciples when again all night they had fished. They were cleaning their nets. They were all done for the day. And Jesus says, let me stand in your boat and preach to the crowds. Because it's easier, if you've ever been on a lake, you see how sound travels. You've got to be careful. And then he says, all right, guys, let's go on out here and we'll catch some fish. And sure enough, they do. So it's an echo. Remember the call of Peter, his name was Simon. And in this case, Jesus renamed him Peter, Cephas, the stone, the rock. But in this last story of Peter, he's calling him Simon again. There are echoes all over. The charcoal fire. The only other charcoal fire mentioned is when Peter was outside the court and denied knowing Jesus 3 times. There is no doubt that the writer is contrasting, wanting to close this circle, if you will, about Peter, who became the leader. Peter, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? They say, scholars say that this was an epilogue, if you will, added by the community that followed John, because as you can see, there was some competition here between Peter and John, and when Peter looks back and says, what about John? You'll read that later. The beloved community of the beloved disciple, we assume is John, may have been the ones that wrote the Gospel of John, for all we know. But they sat at the feet of John, who lived to ripe old age. He was not martyred like all the others were. And they knew his words about Jesus. Well, that's a prelude. I was reading a commentary on Bishop Michael Curry's sermons, and sure enough, she nailed it. You know, he always starts off slow and ends up excited. He usually quotes an African spiritual. He brings in love. He brings excitement. So I figured the presiding bishop can quote a black spiritual. I can quote a white spiritual. From a famous, great white spiritual singer from the 60s. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, love. Is that true? Boy. Would you hand me that water, Jim, that's in my pew? Is love all we need to follow Jesus? Or whatever's in here, you all have no clue, do you? Filled with the spirits. I'll keep this here with you. believe that love is not all we need, but love is essential to what we need. Water. We need water to live. We need love to live. We know that from many different studies. Jesus asked Peter, do you love me more than these? And we don't know if he's saying more than these other guys, which would probably make sense because they've been competitive the whole time. Or Peter, do you love me more than you love your own life? Do you love me more than you love your creature comforts? Because if you follow me, those creature comforts will not follow. What is it about suffering? I mean, we even with Ananias, it says, I'm going to show Saul Paul, how he will suffer for me. Like I say, I'm hoping I'm more like Ananias than Paul. I wonder what denominations that you know of have love as their central core doctrinal profession of faith in their life. I know certain denominations who use Revelation and Daniel. Some will use Paul's legalism about how people should behave. Some will use the Old Testament laws to make arguments. And we Christians have been harming each other more than loving each other for 2,000 years. That's just reality, brothers and sisters. If we look at history, we know that's true. We know that's true. I'm so proud to have a presiding bishop who talks about the way of love. I'm so proud to have a presiding bishop who talks about the way of Jesus and being in the Jesus movement. He's encouraging us and he's inviting us to make love and Jesus the central part of our life, what we profess with our lips and with our lives. And of course, Jesus is saying to Peter, if you love me, feed my sheep. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot this part of the sermon. This is great. Mother's Day is coming up, guys. Do we have any entrepreneurs in the congregation? Any inventors? Because I'm looking for an inventor, because I have got a way to make, I'd say $1 billion. Maybe $2 billion. Now do we have any entrepreneurs in the congregation? The perfect Christmas gift. How many times have you said to somebody or heard them say to you, if you really love me, you would, what is the answer to that? If you really love me, you would what? Buy me an airplane. What was that, Paul?
Take out the trash.
Take out the trash. Take out the trash. There's another song from the 60s. What else? If you really love me, you would
cook dinner.
Cook dinner. Okay, ladies, come on now. If you've been married, what did you say soon after you got married? If you really love me, you would buy me a diamond ring. No, you leave the toilet seat lid down. And I think this is probably the first time a toilet seat lid has been mentioned in a sermon anywhere in the universe. I like to be one of a kind, but my invention is this. It's a simple one. Gary, you would have the opportunity to work with me for a long time if, as an engineer type person, you could put that little motor in the little pivotal thing, and after however long, it automatically closes the lid. Oh, it would save so many marriages. It would bring peace to the world. One toilet lid at a time. It's like changing one diaper at a time, one laundry robe at a time, one toilet lid. Oh, I'm excited now. Love means leaving the toilet seat, whatever. Of course, what I always said to my wife is, come on guys, what would you say? If you really love me, you'd lift the lid. I don't know why guys don't say that, but all right, where am I? Okay. If you really love me, You would think of others before you thought of yourself. Wow. I wish I'd learned that 33 years ago. It would have made my marriage a lot better. That's what marriage is. It's a training ground for learning to put the other one first. That's what family is. And that's what our church is about. Here's a training ground for love. A training ground to put others first. And if our denomination was known for love, these pews would be full because everyone needs love. Everyone needs to be loved. If Peter had asked Jesus, "Do you love me?" Because I've asked that question. Or I've said, "God, if you really love the world, why do you let the innocent suffer? If you really love the world, why do these bad things happen?" And Jesus' only answer is, "From the cross, I love you. From the beach, I love you. From the bread and the wine, the altar, I love you." If we get nothing else from being here in church, know that God loves you. Share that. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.